There are about 3,400 auctions scheduled to take place this week. Sydney will hold about 1,000, Melbourne roughly 1,500, Brisbane about 180, Adelaide about 200 and Canberra 98 auctions. The most viewed property on the REA Group website this week is a country estate on 260 acres near the Murray River in northern Victoria. The address is 185 Morgan's Mill Road, Beery. This home's called Clarendon Air. The place is a golf lover's delight because it includes its own mini golf course with 5 holes with multiple playing options. They're all designed to replicate the surfaces of Augusta National Golf Course in the USA. The greenskeeping equipment, it can be included as part of the sale. The house has 7 beds, 5 bathrooms, parking for 10 cars. It's got a wraparound veranda with views out over the picturesque Murray River. There's also a pool, tennis court, machinery shed, Olympic trampoline and cinema. It's about 3 hours drive from Melbourne, or the ad says about 45 minutes by helicopter. The asking price is $8 to $8.8 million. And for more on property, I caught up with Eleanor Creagh from REA Group.
Yeah, so it's really that continuation of the theme that we've seen throughout this spring selling season, whereby buyers really have a lot more choice, a lot more stock listed for sale at the moment. And that's really reducing the urgency to transact and putting a little bit of less upward pressure on home prices. So around 3,400 homes heading to auction this weekend. That's up around 10% compared to this same weekend last year. And next week, even more homes scheduled to go to auction, around 3,500.
And is that amount of stock kind of putting a bit of a dampener on clearance rates?
We have certainly seen that clearance rates have pulled back. So in Sydney, where we've seen a real surge in stock for sale, Melbourne too, clearance rates sitting kind of around the low to mid 50s. So they've certainly dropped back a bit with that increase in choice out there for buyers. We've also seen that the pace of home price growth has slowed as well quite significantly in some of the capital city markets from that much stronger pace we were seeing earlier in the year where there was less stock on market.
Yeah, Melbourne, I mean, about 1,500 properties for sale just this week alone. That's a lot. How's the Melbourne market really been tracking this year?
So Melbourne, we've really seen a continuation of those relatively subdued conditions relative to the other capitals. That has been a continuation of the trend we've seen over the past 4 years, really. So Melbourne home prices have actually fallen slightly throughout this year and have fallen for most months of the year so far. And there's a number of factors as to why we've seen that subdued price momentum in Melbourne. So really buyers having a lot more choice. Since about mid last year actually in Melbourne. Of course, higher property taxes also playing a role. And I think that underarching supply story is also a factor in Melbourne, whereby Victoria has quite simply done a better job of building more housing relative to population growth over the past decade.
All right, December is just around the corner. When does the market start to cool off as you get closer and closer to Christmas?
So for those buyers that are out there now, they'll be looking to take advantage of that increase in stock that's listed for sale now over the next couple of weeks before we really start to see things slowing off around mid-December. And then we probably won't see them really picking back up again until the end of January.
So like around the Australia Day holidays when it sort of officially gets back into gear?
Yeah, so just after that period, we typically find that that's when property market activity picks up again. So we know that there's around 34 homes heading to auction this weekend. It's a little bit more next weekend, but over the next couple of weeks after that, that's when we start to see those auction volumes dropping off quite a bit.
And just broadly this year, how have prices been going?
So we've seen that really home prices, or the housing market in general, has remained very resilient to the sustained higher interest rate environment and of course to the persistent affordability constraints that buyers are facing across the country. Really, affordability has deteriorated significantly, but still we've seen resilient home buying demand really able to offset or defy those pressures, and prices have lifted in most markets around the country over the past year.
And you've got a report from flatmates.com out this week just showing people that are renting are still under serious financial stress.
That's certainly the case. And I mean, it's no surprise. We know that rental prices have increased significantly over the past 3 or so years. And as a result, rental affordability has really deteriorated. And although we have seen conditions in the rental market beginning to ease and the pace of rental price growth slowing, a lot of renters are still facing challenges in terms of that significant increase in rental prices that we have seen. So around 35% of those survey respondents having experienced an increase in rental prices, and around half of that 35% having experienced a really significant increase that was quite a bit more than they expected.
Eleanor Creagh, great to chat to you as always.
Thank you for having me.